All right, here comes probably the most popular question. It's going to be answered, the sump. What is it? How does it work? Why a sump? How do you build it, etc., etc. Real quick, I just got a few messages about the tank itself, asking what is this over here. It's just a lettuce clip. I feed these guys probably once every other day, if not once every 3 days, a romaine lettuce leaf or two. They love it, they tear it apart. So yeah, that's what that is. The other thing was the pH. The last time I checked it, which was probably a few months ago, because I'm gonna admit this, I don't check my water. I check it if there's a problem, and that's it, because set it and forget it, that's what I'm all about. So I don't check my water, shame on me maybe, but it's worked for me. I've been doing the cichlids for 20 plus years, and so far so good, knock on wood. But last time I checked, the pH was around 7.4, 7.5. I don't add any buffers. I don't try to maintain 8.0 or 8.2. Whatever it is, as long as it's constant. These fish didn't come from Africa. They came from Florida and Arizona and wherever else out west. So these guys, most of the water that these guys are coming from, the shops they're coming from, I talked to the owners and they said the same thing. They're running about 7.5 on the pH. So hopefully that answers some of your questions. I don't normally test the GH or the KH either. I just don't bother. In my opinion, the fish look great. They eat like pigs. So I just go with it as is, and if it isn't broken, don't fix it, I guess. So anyways, enough blabbering here. On to the sump. So the sump I built myself. The tank itself I did not build. It's a Aqueon 75-gallon tank, standard tank. I actually picked this one up at Petco, and I ended up getting all the glass baffles. We'll take a look at that in a second. I had all those cut at a glass shop nearby. It's not cheap to get glass cut, so just between the tank and the glass, I probably have a good, I'd say, almost $300 just into the sump itself without any media. So anyways, we'll start from the beginning. Over here on the side door here, I just have, this is one of my J-Bow wave makers, controllers. And this is my main pump. It's a J-Bow DCP 10,000 fully adjustable pump. It's worked great. I've had it for 6 months since I got this, since I set this tank up. It's a great running pump. It is super, super silent. You cannot hear it whatsoever. There's no vibrations, there's no sounds. The only way you know it's working is the water moving through the tank. I'm very impressed with it. Knock on wood, so far so good. Hopefully that keeps up and it's okay. I have a power panel up here. I also have, just stuffed in the back there, another couple outlets that are plugged in for some power heads and whatever else. But onto the sump, here we go. So let's start, I guess, from the basics here, or step one, I should say. Like I said earlier, there's a overflow in each corner. So left side, right side overflows. How does it work? Well, let's go back up to the top. For those of you who don't have drilled tanks or not familiar with the overflow tanks, water obviously comes through here. Maybe back it up even further if the fish will get out of the way. There is a intake up here on the top, just above the rocks. I had the rocks specifically cut out for this intake box. It's very hard to see, but you can kind of see the grate up there. Sorry if it's blurry. And then down here, that cave is actually, yes, it doubles as a cave and the fish love to hide in it, especially the catfish, but it actually doubles as, that is the lower intake. And that is the same over here. If you're wondering why there's a big hole in the rock over here on the bottom, that is, you can't see it because it's black obviously, but that is the lower intake. And then the upper intake might be a little bit easier to see on this side, is up here where the rocks are cut out. And then of course, there's one return, but 2 nozzles on each side. So I get really good flow. Speaking of flow, right now, I mess around with the adjustment sometimes just to try different things. Right now I'm running about 2,500 gallons per hour through this sump. So 2,600 gallons per hour. So I'm turning the tank over, pretty good. The water's crystal clear. I just fed these guys a little bit ago. Shame on me, I should have waited so the water was, as clear as it normally is, but it is what it is. I usually feed these guys twice a day, 2 smaller feedings, or at least, once a day, obviously. So anyways, the drain is on the left. This one here, adjustable of course, so I can control the water level and how much flow I want. It goes into this 7-inch filter sock. So this filter sock is 200 microns. For those of you who are not familiar with filter socks, the microns is basically the higher the number micron, it's the larger the particles that can flow through it are. So there's 200. Normally there's 200 and 100 microns. So the 100 I tried out, but it's catching everything and it's great. But the problem is I was changing it every 2 days. This filter sock I am changing currently depending on how much I'm feeding these guys, which is usually a pretty good amount. I'm changing this filter sock once every 4 or 5 days, really. So not too bad. I have a handful of them. I have about 6 of them, so I just swap them out, run them through bleach, etc., etc. Now, another question I got asked was, well, I don't see any foam. Why don't you run foam? Well, I actually do have foam in here. It's hard to see. I mean, you can probably see it. Well, you see my reflection of my hand better, but you can kind of see it down here. There's actually 3 layers of it. And then there's what's called Japanese mat, which is actually more so for koi, but it's actually a great biological filter pad. Of course, I do not rinse any of these filter pads out, sponges out under normal tap water. I take them into a 5-gallon bucket and I, wring them out through that, and just to keep all that good beneficial bacteria, thriving, so I don't kill it. I actually have a piece. I want to show you guys if you're not familiar with it. This is the coarse port foam. It's called port. It's P-O-R-E-T foam. So this is the coarse one. That's what I have on the top layer. And then below that, I have 2 of the medium, so it catches more stuff. The medium size foam blocks. I did have the fine one on the bottom, but it was just getting too gunked up too quick. So I'm just running 2 mediums and a coarse. And then below it, of course, I have an extra piece out here, is this Japanese mat, which is pretty cool stuff. It's a huge pain in the butt to cut, and it kind of frays up a little bit on the ends, so you have to just take your time with it and deal with it. I guess it sucks, but once it's in there, it's great. So while we're in this chamber, there's a lot of free space here, and I'm trying to figure out what to do. I've actually been changing out filter medias, and just trying to figure out what I'm going to end up doing. I'm not really sure yet. I might just raise this whole thing up and build an actual tower here as well, and make multiple levels of drip trays. And I'm either going to use, I have my little box here. I have all this stuff to show you guys. So a lot of you guys are familiar with, or most of you guys are familiar with these pot scrubbers. So I used these for a little while and they seem to work great. When I built this new sump, I ended up just changing around a little bit and they kind of took a back seat. Not for any particular reason really. And I'm actually thinking about bringing them back and using them again because, in my opinion, I think they're much better than the bio balls. The bio balls, which I have about at least 20 gallons worth. This is just a couple packs, you know, of the bio balls that I brought just to show you guys. But the bio balls kind of got gunked up with, you know, the waste and whatever else. So I kind of got away from the bio balls. I know people swear by them. Been used for a long time, but as for right now, this is my setup. I might put these scrubbies in here, put them in a nylon or a mesh bag, and put them in around the filter sock. So basically, I am doing a deep clean on this sump about once a month or so. Once every 3 weeks, once every 4 weeks. I'll take all the filter pads out and wring them out. Either that, or I'll show you another setup I have later on where the sump actually cleans itself. I'll get into that later, maybe even another video, because this video is carrying on now. So, yeah, so that's that section. And going over here, a lot of you guys asked me, how does the flow work in the system? Well, here's how it works. It comes down here, obviously, through the sock, through these different port foams, the Japanese mat, and then it comes up this chamber, whatever you want to call it, and it flows through all this media, biological media. So I have the typical ceramic rings, and again, there are a ton of them in there. It's packed. It's 18 inches wide, this sump, so by that's about 8 inches or so. And you know, there's this, I forget what it's called, the quilt batting, they call it. I found it at Walmart. It was actually in the pillow section, pillow and bedding section. It looks like this. I know a lot of you guys use it. A lot of you guys use the loose stuff. I just decided to go with this quilt batting because it's one long roll, and I can just cut it out to however big I want it, however big or small I want it, and it works perfectly. It's pretty easy to wring out, clean out. You know, maybe once every 3 weeks or so when I do the deep clean, I'll actually put this through some bleach and just bleach them out, and then obviously, you know, just make sure you get all the bleach out. Let's see what else. This is C-Chem Matrix. There's a ton of that in there as well. Down here is just another piece of port foam to catch whatever else, and then it flows back up here and into, what the heck is this? A lot of people are asking, what in God's name is that? And well, I'll tell you what it is. It is the new version, or maybe my version, of bio balls. I was always a big fan of the bio balls. I have multiple sumps on multiple tanks. Some still use the bio balls, but I'm really getting away from the bio balls now and going to this K1 media. So there's K1, K2, K3 media, and the K1, which is what this is the smallest. So there's a lot of surface area on these guys. Grab a piece of it, show you what it looks like. See if I can focus in on it. There it goes. There's a lot of surface media, or a lot of surface area on this media. And the thing that I love about this K1 system is that it is self-cleaning. Sorry for the bad video there. It is self-cleaning, so that this whole section actually cleans itself. If I were to stop the pump, you would see the glass, top, bottom, left and right, whatever, is perfectly clean, perfectly clear. There's no detritus, no anything in there. It doesn't ever need to be cleaned. You basically set it up. This one I have a Sice pump, Model 4 pump running on it. It's like 900 gallons or so. It's adjustable, so I've got it, you know, whipping around pretty good in there, and it's you know, it just does its own thing, and it's been great. I've had no issues with it. Hopefully, it will continue to be good. Over here, I have some basically some saltwater live rock, not really live rock, but base rock, and some golden pothos. Come over to the side here, and then some bonsai, just in this little area down here, soaking up those nitrates. growing like a weed. I just put it in there a couple weeks ago and it's just taken off. Over here is my return section. That J-Bow DCP pump is underneath all this stuff. Just a bunch of C-Chem matrix in these bags, these nylon mesh bags. And this is actually Chemi Pure Blue. I believe it really helps keep my water crystal clear. It starts out black and white, and you can see it's just gathering a whole bunch of gunk and keeping my water crystal clear. Try to hurry this video up here for you guys. I got a lot of questions. What the heck is that can back there? Well, that can is my Autotop off system. So basically in the back of the tank, I drilled a hole through the floor. Don't tell my fiance. I'll sleep on the couch. But I drilled a hole through the floor, and it's off right now. Usually the valve is open, and it's off because I'm about to do a water change. So it flows up here from the basement, from the main water supply, and it goes into this water purifier. Basically, it's a GE water purifier, basically what you would have for your drinking water on your refrigerator. And that goes into the sump, into this float valve, and it works great. I have it on a few tanks. Some people are like, well, you have to be careful because you can flood your house. Well, yes, that's true in some cases, but I have a couple backups on this one, including a water leak detection system that has a shut-off valve on it that will close the valve to shut this off. It's actually mounted downstairs, but the sensor is up here. Strange. But anyways, so that's that. That's pretty much the sump. The other thing that is in here is a UV sterilizer. It's an aqua ultraviolet sterilizer, 25 watts. And that just flows. It's actually connected right to my main return. So the main return comes up from here, and it goes up back into the tank on this side, and it goes back up into the tank on this side. Over here, it's teed off into the aqua ultraviolet UV sterilizer. What is this? This is for the sump recirculation. I can clean the sump out, or the sump can clean itself out with my help, obviously. If I want to be lazy, I guess, I can just squeeze all these filter pads out in here and just move everything around in here, get it flowing through the sump, suck it up through the main pump, dumps right back in through here. I shut off the other returns to the tank itself. Dumps back into here into the filter sock, and I let it run for like a half hour, and it just makes the sump completely crystal clear. And then I just change out the filter sock, of course. So that's pretty much it. I'm sorry this video was so long. I probably should have broken it down if you guys are still even here watching it. I'm happy to answer any questions you guys may have, any comments, anything else I can make a video on. I would be perfectly happy to do so for you guys. I hope you guys got, something out of this, and you enjoyed the video. Anyways, I'm gonna sign out here. So any questions or want to see anything else, please just let me know. Thanks.